Okay, so I got a ton of really awesome messages after I offered to help people tap into their expertise for Palestine. And I made a video like this for influencers who didn't know how to talk about Palestine but wanted to. And I gave them some ideas depending on whatever their niche was. And so I think it might be helpful to do something like this for people who are not influencers but who have an expertise in some field and want to contribute. You have to remember that colonialism thrives off of ignorance. It is no coincidence that America is literally attacking our education system. When people get too smart, they understand what is actually happening in the world and they want to make a difference and they want to be a part of the change. So colonialism and colonizers keep you misinformed and uninformed and uneducated so that they can continue conquering this world. So we have to do something to collectively educate the masses. When I talk about your area of expertise, it's what you went to school for, it's what you have a job in, it's what you have an interest or a hobby in. For example, I am educated in psychology and in journalism, and so my route of education for Palestine is centered around media literacy and also psychology. You should be able to take your expertise, to take your knowledge, whatever is institutionalized knowledge in your own brain, you can take it and apply it to anything in life. So Palestine is no exception. I said that I have an area of expertise in psychology, but it's specifically social psychology, and I'm able to mesh that with my journalism background and my knowledge in the media field and teach people how to spot propaganda. But there are a ton of sectors in the psychology field that apply to Palestine. If you're a child and adolescent psychologist, you can talk about the effects of colonialism on the child's psyche. You can talk about what this trauma is going to do to these children in years to come. Moving on from psychology, if you're in a field like advertising or marketing, you could teach people to spot how Israel is a brand. When have you ever seen a country that puts out as many ads to support them in war as you've seen Israel do in the last 3 months? Remind people about why advertising exists in the first place, right? Everybody was obsessed with Mad Men. That was a perfect example of how advertising is a direct influence of general public opinion. Teach people about how much money and prep goes into something like that. Why would a country have to do that? They're trying to sell you on something. If you're an engineer or if you're in the construction industry, teach people about the infrastructure that is currently being demolished in Gaza. How much does this cost to rebuild? How many years will this take to rebuild? Is it possible to rebuild? Why are certain structures being targeted? And as I'm saying this out loud, I'm also connecting it to public policy and planning. So if that's your area of expertise, this is for you. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you're a doctor or a nurse or a medical professional, talk about medical terrorism. If you're a teacher, you can talk about how the history lessons that they give to students in Israel is fake, much like the history lessons that we give to Americans here in the States. Settler colonies rewrite history. That's what the United States did. That's what Israel does. They are teaching people that Palestine didn't exist, that Palestinians never existed, and so we have to be able to infiltrate those lessons. Now that you know that this is what they do, learn about it and use it. If you're in any field that has to do with climate or agriculture, talk about how settler colonies destroy native biodiversity of a land. Teach people why they're uprooting the olive trees. Teach people about why they're burning down our groves. Teach people about why they are salting our earth. Also, low-hanging fruit, talk about how bad bombs are for the earth. My friend Hesh the other day gave a great example of how attorneys and people in the legal field can use their expertise to talk about what's happening. Moving on to the creative fields, if you're an artist, talk about how the Palestinian flag has been banned for decades and how art became a form of protest. If you're a musician, talk about how Palestinian folk music also became a form of protest. Learn about the song Ya Tal'in. It's an amazing example of the brilliance and resiliency of Palestinian women to make up their own language in the form of a song to give Palestinian prisoners directions on how to free themselves out of prisons. There is so much education that needs to be happening right now, and it's like an all hands on deck all the time kind of thing. Being an ally is not just posting videos or photos of what's happening in Gaza. It's not just reposting things that are already on the internet. You have to be able to make creative content yourself and use your expertise to help further Palestinian education and liberation. Whether you have 40 followers or 400 followers or 40,000 followers or 400,000, I don't know why I chose 4, but it doesn't matter how many followers you have Every single person that is on your page is following you for a reason, and it means that you can reach them based on how you talk naturally. So use your voice in the way that is natural to you, and use your expertise, the things that you know, and talk about Palestine in a way that connects you to our struggle, you personally. People love a personal connection. That's when they listen. If you have an area of expertise that you need help figuring out how to craft in relation to Palestine, put it in the comments and I'll try to answer it and give you some ideas. And if you can do it in a way that looks organic to my page, I will help you amplify that message. Because all I want to do is educate everyone on everything that has to do with Palestine. And I don't have all of the expertise and all the answers and all the knowledge, but I know that everybody that's following me has something they can contribute. Education is the most powerful tool to dismantling colonialism from the inside.